Hello, Roomies. We're back. I'm Maria. I review films for like almost 20 years, and this is Lindsay. She has a
Yes.
degree in film. We were real
Yes.
college roommates, and we're here to review the movies that we missed along the way. And this week was my choice. I chose An American Tail from 1986 because I grew up with it. Like we had it on VHS, and I watched it a lot when I was a kid. This
Yeah.
was like
And I've never.
1986. Yeah, Lindsay's never seen it, so this was her first time seeing it. And of course, I rewatched it too because it's been a long time since I've seen it. Um, but yeah, American Tail, I watched a lot, like Disney, some Disney films, and then also like Howard the Duck. I watched a lot too.
Hmm.
Which, if you look at it now, you probably wouldn't let your kid watch it, but it was just silly because it's just a duck. But anyway, I didn't know anything about
Yeah.
Howard the comic book character. But yeah, so American Tail is again came out in 1986. It's an animated film it's one of Spielberg's first animated films. It was directed by Don Bluth, who went on to do a whole bunch of other animated films that you would also know, like Anastasia is one of the films that he did. They were like the other major animation company that wasn't Disney, basically. Um, so when they got into Spielberg, they formed that company. I think it's called Ambition. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. But yes, so in 1986, I actually watched it on VHS. We didn't go to the movies to watch that because, like, 1986, I would have been like two for most of the year. So,
Um. Yeah, you're probably right. Let me see when it came out. No, we would have been three. It came out in
oh yeah,
November.
November. Yeah, that's right. But I remember it on VHS at like four or something. Um,
Hmm.
but Bluth also did The Land Before Time, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So
Classic.
those. Yes, I remember growing up with those two. I had the Land Before Time little like toys you would get from McDonald's and stuff when they were doing the Happy Meals with toys.
Hmm.
And Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I watched that even though it would scare me when they would melt like at the end. Like he melts away or whatever. They dip him
Yeah.
in the acid and he melts. And it's just
Hmm.
that and like the end of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark because they open the Ark and then like all the spirit comes out and melts the Nazis and it's just that's scary as a kid. Yeah.
Fed your
So
fear.
yeah, I mean, seeing people melt. What?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
4 years
You
old.
right.
Whatever. But yeah, so an American Tale is surrounds this family of mice from Russia. They're Jewish Russian mice, and their home is burned down by some Cossacks who come in and like burn the entire Jewish village. And so, they're fed up with it, and so they're gonna go to America because in America there are no cats in America, and the streets are paved with cheese. Right? Sounds amazing, right? So
Right.
it's the same kind of story. Lots of immigrants got told about America around the same time because it's 1885. The streets are paved with gold was one of the things people would say, right? So they're gonna go to
Hmm.
America because there's no cats and everything, and it's a family of four of them: Mama, Papa, Tanya, and Fievel, of course. And Fievel is a little adventurous, right? He's really excited by new things,
Hmm.
right? They're trying to get on the ship, and he's stopping every 2 seconds, asking, "What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that?" Adventuring around the ship by himself and everything. And eventually, he gets separated from his family by doing this. Right before they get to America, he gets tossed overboard during a storm.
Hmm.
Luckily, he washes up and he runs into this pigeon, this French pigeon, who is helping to assemble the Statue of Liberty, apparently. And
I
the
was
pigeon,
trying to figure out that accent. I
yeah,
cannot.
he, he's French pigeon.
Yeah.
And Five Loaves feeling really down and everything. And the pigeon tells him, never say never. You'll find your family. I know where to look. And so he has Five dropped off right where all the immigrants get off the boats to register. But unfortunately, he stops a little short. He ends up in this rat nest. The rat's called Warren. Warren,
It's your sound is sounding weird.
is it?
Hmm.
I haven't changed anything.
Okay, now it sounds fine.
Now it sounds fine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Fievel finds out that he's in New York and everything, and he gets dropped off to try and find his family. He's accidentally dropped in this rat's nest. This rat by the name of Warren T, who is like always trying to scam, trying to get some money for something. I don't know what a rat's supposed to do with money, but whatever.
Yeah.
So Warren T's like, oh yeah, I know where your family is. Follow me. Everything. Drops him off at a sweatshop, and he sells his labor to this dude. And he's like, yeah, just make sure you send me his wages. You know, and
Mhm.
so he's trapped in this sweatshop. And one of the things that I like about this movie is, like, during like all the steps, like the mice are the focus, mice and like cats. But you'll see
Mhm.
humans along the way.
Mhm.
So, like when they're on the ship, you'll see them like running through somebody's feet, or like at the sweatshop, you see the women like working the sewing machines and everything. But they're just kind of background. But I love, the visual tie into like this is what actual human immigrants that went through. Like these are the things
Mhm.
they would have to do. But Five will hates it there, of course, because who wouldn't? And he escapes. Right? He's desperate to find his family, and his father plays violin,
Mhm.
and so he hears this violin and he thinks, "Oh, it's got to be my dad." Ends up being some very rich. Like, she had to be rich to have this right at this point in time to have this record player. Like if people didn't
Mhm.
really have record players like that, so
Right.
um, it's actually a record player, so it's not his family. And the entire time, he's always like maybe like 10 feet away from his family at the most,
Mhm.
and they keep having these
Right.
very close misconnections kind of things. And one of the things that struck me this time was like they don't go looking for him because they believe he died overboard, right?
Mhm.
And like my sister's like, he's alive. I know he's alive. Can we just look for him? Couldn't you just play your violin to like try to see if he hears you?
Yeah.
Something. And her parents are like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And
I
because
thought
she's
that was
like,
pretty cool that she kept hope alive.
yeah, she did. Because she was like, I feel it. And her mom's like, that'll eventually go away. And I was like, damn,
Mhm.
mama,
Yeah,
what has
they
she
were pretty cold.
what has she been through? Like, what, like to
A lot
say
of
that that'll
parties.
eventually go away. Like, have there been other finals? What's going on? You know?
Or maybe just the point that I mean they're mice. Their lifespan ain't long, and then on top of that, they got cats,
Yeah.
so they probably are used to death by their age. You know what I mean?
I mean, they were all really, really sad. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Some hurt more than others, but
yeah.
you know,
And one of the things I also like is like when they're on the boat,
hmm
they think there are no cats in America, right?
hmm
And they have like three different mice like take solos, and they're talking about like the sad things that happen to them in their countries because of mice. And so you have mice from like all over the world on the boat. You've got the Moscovitzes who we're following, and then you've got mice from Italy and mice from Spain and mice from Ireland who all have stories about how
hmm
cats have persecuted them and killed their loved ones and whatever, and that's why they're coming to America. And it's just like, oh man, oh, I feel so bad because
I mean, life
cats
ain't
are
no
everywhere.
better, right? Life ain't no better.
No, I don't know who lied to these poor mice to tell them this.
Yeah.
So Fievel escapes the sweatshop, and he actually made a friend there. This little other mouse named Tony, who's like supposed to be like an Italian mouse, but like a New York
Yeah.
Italian.
Right.
Yeah,
The worst New York Italian accent ever. Like
it's
I
really
would be
bad.
offended. I would be so offended. And
I
it
don't know
sounded
why
like
it's
a
so
girl.
bad. It's
And
not
it
like you
sounded
can't.
like a girl. Like I had to go look it
It,
up because I was
oh,
like, this is a girl with a bad Italian accent. And it was
It
a
was.
woman. Hmm.
I did not even cross
Yep.
my mind.
Yep.
That's not unusual though.
It's
Because
not. That's why I was
yeah,
like, it has to be a girl.
because Bart Simpson's played by a woman, has been played by a woman
Right.
the entire time.
And
So
the boys on the Boondocks is a woman.
that's right, Regina King. She
Regina
plays them
King.
both.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know what it is. I don't know
But
what it is.
Tony, yeah, Tony, like Tony can't ever wait. He's always like in a hurry,
Oh
right?
God.
And
Yeah.
like, cause Five was like supposed to be 7. I thought he was supposed to be like 5, but he's supposed to be 7.
Okay.
Um, like 7 years old. So, but he's, Tony's also trying to help him get back with his family, and he goes to like a rally where this young Irish mouse Bridget is like saying, "We need to stand up against the cats," right? And so
Mhm.
Tony falls in love with Bridget and whatever. They think each other's cute, and Bridget knows people at basically what would be like Tammany Hall for
Mhm.
for humans.
Mhm.
But they call it something else. I can't remember. Mott Street. I think. No, that's the gang. But there's a bunch of it's basically like Tammany Hall at the time, where you have your politician who's trying to get people off the boat to vote for them. And so, they would hook them up with all kinds of like things that they would need, housing and food and jobs and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
also vote for me, and that kind of thing. So she takes him there to see Honest John, a politician named Honest John, who was
Right.
a drunk.
Right.
Um,
The irony.
right. But Fievel's family hasn't registered to vote, so Honest John doesn't know who they are. So unfortunately, he's unable to help them. But while they're there, they also hear this rich mouse talking about, how we need to stand up against the cats and we need to hold a rally. And she has this accent where she pronounces her R's as W's.
I just thought she had a list.
A lisp? Okay, is that what it is? I was like, is this a lisp? Is this an accent? I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah. That's what I took it as a list. I was just like a rich lady with a list. All right.
Right. Because she says, we need to hold a rally. And the
Mm-hmm.
guy's like, what are you talking about? It takes a little while, but they eventually understand that she means rally. And
Mm-hmm.
her name is Gussie Mossheimer.
Yeah.
And they have a rally with a bunch of mice to telling you we can't let these cats walk all over us. Like they're so afraid of cats they can't even say the word cat too loudly because they feel like
Right.
cats will hear them and come attack them.
Right.
Um,
It's definitely a bad word.
yeah, like the whole Harry Potter thing, right? With Voldemort, you can't say his name or he'll show up.
You know, I have not seen Potter past the first movie, so
Really? Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Why didn't you tell me that before? We could have been doing this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. It just wasn't my thing. I fell asleep.
Yeah,
I like
honestly,
the movie. I saw it.
the first
Yeah.
movie's not great. The first movie's not great. They
Yeah.
they tend to get better, but the first movie was a little too faithful in some ways. Some
Mm.
things that work better for
Okay.
books that don't work well for movies, that kind of thing.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so they hold a rally to decide what to do about the cats, because Warren T. the rat is like extorting them all, asking for protection money, whatever, whatever.
Mm.
And like the last time he also works with this cockroach that he keeps in his pocket. He's his accountant.
Mm. Yeah.
He's a rat.
I know. You know, I thought it was a good idea to watch this movie while eating breakfast,
That
and it
bothered you?
wasn't. The whole movie bothered me. I stopped eating early. Like I
Did you
wasted a lot of
really?
food. Yeah.
No, don't waste the food.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I have to remember that bit.
yeah, I was
That didn't,
like,
it didn't.
oh,
I was eating while watching it. It did not bother me at all.
yeah,
It did not even occur to me.
yeah, it was not a
Mostly
good idea.
because it's very animated. It's not made to look realistic in any kind of way. Now, if we were talking
Right,
about like real looking kinds of things, yeah,
right. Like if it was live action, it
yeah,
probably would have been
no,
in my head not to even start to eat. But me not thinking about it and then I'm thinking about it while I'm eating, and I was like, yeah, no, this is not a good idea. So
Oh, well, hopefully you'll be
yeah.
able to finish breakfast later.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
the food is tainted now with the memories, huh?
I mean, I tried to pick it back up, but yeah,
Couldn't do
yeah,
it. Just start seeing visions of rats and cockroaches in your head.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll eat breakfast.
yeah.
So, uh, Fievel shows up to the rally, and his family's actually at the rally. They're like way in the back, and his sister's trying to see the stage, but there's this lady with this big hat, and she can't see it, even though she's on her dad's shoulders. But
Mhm,
Fievel gets to the stage, and he gives them a plan on how to deal with the cat. Um, and they don't even ask his name or anything, so his like name doesn't get announced or anything like
mhm.
that. And Tanya can't see him, so they don't even know he's there. Again, there's several scenes where
Right.
they're so close, but they don't know each other is there.
Mhm. Right.
Um, and oh, when they first came in, because the family has been like checked in, registered, and not just not registered to vote yet. They changed Tanya's name to Tilly,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Is Tilly that is Tanya that exotic? Was it that exotic at the time that you couldn't think of how to spell it, so you just put Tilly?"
Right, right. And when they were doing that and whatnot, I was like, so is that the reason why we have a whole lot of Smiths and Williams
Oh
and stuff?
yes, no, that's actually true. That happened a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Okay.
would change people's name all the time. If they were like, I don't know how to spell that, they would just put down whatever. Honestly,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so that's actually really very true.
Yeah.
Um, when I was in high school, we went to New York and we visited Ellis Island, which for me, I was like, what's the point? Like my relative's not gonna be on here. Why am I here? But yes, they used to do that a lot. Actually, you can see it a lot because you go back in time and people will have like similar sounding names but very different spellings or something like that.
Mhm.
Or like other government papers will say one name but they used a different name, like with everyone else. It'd
Mhm.
be those kinds of reasons. Yeah. So the mice decide they're going to take over this abandoned museum on Chelsea Pier to get their plan together. And Fievel's still looking for his family. Going around. He hears his violin again. He thinks it's his dad again because apparently he's the only person in the world who plays violin, and
Mhm.
only mouse probably. But he follows the sound of the violin going down through the sewer, and he gets chased by a bunch of creepy crawlies. So I'm
Yeah.
probably guessing that was the scene where you were like, "I'm done eating."
Yeah.
Uh,
I was done way before then,
oh
but
really?
yeah, I
that
I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat the rest of the day. I ain't
Oh
worried about it.
no, not the rest of the day.
That was a lot. Oh.
Oh. So he loses the creepy crawlies and he comes across a den, basically a gang hangout for these cats. They're the Mott Street Maulers, right? And so they're just down there like counting their coins, playing cards, whatever. And there's a big old orange cat down there, played by Dom DeLuise. He's called Tiger, and he's bigger and fluffier than all the cats, but he's not very bright. But
Mhm.
while they're down there, Five was just looking around, seeing what the cats were doing, whatever. And he gets behind this glass, and the glass, unbeknownst to him, is actually used as a mirror. And there, Warren T shows up, and he's like, "What is going on?"
Mhm.
And Warren T takes off his nose and takes off his hat, and it turns out Warren T is actually a cat.
Mhm.
Been a cat the whole time,
Right.
you know, scamming and scheming these mice, acting like he could be there. He's just a rat, whatever. I'm not a cat though, so you can work with me. Blah blah. Blah. He's been a cat the whole
Mhm.
time.
Right.
Did you suspect that? Was that a surprise?
It was a surprise. I know it was something weird, but I didn't expect that.
Yeah. So once he finds that out, Warren T sees him. They're like, "You gotta get him." They're trying to catch him and everything, and they do catch him. He almost gets away, but he
Mhm.
drops his hat that his father gave him for Hanukkah. So he
Mhm.
turns around to get it, and he stays just a little too long, and they get him. And Tiger is guarding him, but it turns out Tiger is a vegetarian. He eats little fish from time to time, but he gave up all red meat, which
Right.
I guess mice are red meat. So,
Right. I guess so.
and they
But
find out they have a lot of common, right? They like a lot of the same things, so they have a song about being friends and everything.
mhm.
He helps them escape, and oh, but before this, actually, after Fievel and Tony met Bridget, Fievel actually stays with Bridget in a water tower or something, I guess. And you have the big hit song from this movie, which was "Somewhere Out There." You know, somewhere out there, love can see us through. You know, whatever. It was
Mhm.
it was Linda Ronstadt and I can't remember the other guy who sang it. Let's see, Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram. I remember that being a big hit. Actually, it was like on the radio,
Oh, okay.
and so that's like we're under the same moon and everything. I know you're out there somewhere. So it's like a duet between Fievel and Tanya because she's the only one who believes he's still alive.
Mhm.
But anyway, he meets the cast. He meets Tiger, and Tiger helps him escape. Tiger's one of the good ones. Yeah,
Mhm.
one of the good cats. Um, and Dom DeLuise was a pretty well known actor and comic at the time. It
Yeah.
was probably the most well known person on the cast outside of Christopher Plummer, who played the French pigeon,
Yeah.
who has uh French pigeon companion ladies. Like there were the three other birds that were like purple and pink and blue
Oh,
and green.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So let's see. After they right, so I'm try- I'm just watching this. I don't know why I'm all lost like this. But oh right, so Fievel knows they're going to meet at the pier, so he goes back to the pier, right? To
Mhm.
well, he's running actually because the cats are running after him because they saw that he escaped with Tiger, and so they're running after him to get to the pier, and he's running to the pier because he knows it's where all the other mice are. However, the plan is for 6 a.m. and now it's like 5:45, like it's super early, and the plan is to have to scare the mice with this big like Trojan mouse they've built that's gonna have like fireworks and smoke and stuff, and to have them
Mhm.
run onto this boat that's headed for Hong Kong. Um, and like they would show the boat and like play like some kind of stereotypical Asian music, And I was like, oh God, please don't do something about Siamese or something. Like, don't make any
Yeah.
jokes, like, please. And they didn't. And I was like, oh God, okay, thank you. you know, because there were so many movies from this time that will make jokes like that. Like, if you go back and see like a Lady and the Tramp,
Mhm.
whole like I didn't know this growing up, but like the whole thing with the Siamese cat are depictions or supposed to be depictions of like Chinese people, like these
Mhm.
stereotype kind of images they would draw, like they would do with like black people too, with the big nose and everything. They would do the same
Mhm.
with Chinese people with like buck teeth and all this other stuff, like and like just like crazy racist stuff.
Right.
Um, and like growing up, I didn't know that. I thought these were just cats, and I just like they have a cool song, like you know.
Mhm.
But looking back at it, you're like, oh geez, oh god, why
Yeah.
would you? Do that?
Yeah. It was a lot of problematic things
Yeah,
in cartoons back then that
yeah,
we didn't know nothing of because we were like, small impressionable kids.
yeah. We
You
didn't.
know.
I would have never made that connection, but yeah.
Right.
So I'm just really glad they didn't do it here.
Yeah.
So they get there. The plan has to start earlier than they expected, and they have the big secret weapon of the Trojan mouse and everything. I say
Mhm.
Trojan mouse. There weren't any mice inside of it, but it was just kind of like the same kind of idea.
Mhm.
This big, huge mouse to scare them, and they stop it because the boat's not there yet, and so they have to get the cats to run to the boat so the cats leave. So by the time they stop it, the boat is there. They have to try and
Mhm.
restart it again. And they're not able to do it because they've tied the knots to hold the big mouse back. They've tied them so tight they can't get them
Mhm.
undone. And so Fievel gets a bit of the fire because Warren T is like, oh, yeah, I work with you guys. Why are we? You don't do this, whatever. We have business together, blah blah blah. And when the mice are like, no, we know you're a cat. We're not going to work with you ever again. We're not paying you anything. He's like, okay, fine. He tries to set the place on fire. So Five will take some of that fire to loosen the ropes for the secret weapon, and it starts hitting the door, and like the lights start going red and green and blue, and there's smoke and everything, and the cats are afraid, and it eventually gets to the door, and it chases them all the way to the boat, and they get on the boat for Hong Kong.
Right. And so instead of just throwing them in the river, they send them to another country.
They send them to another country because, like, hey, some of these cats can swim, apparently.
Right, right.
So you're like, get them, send them to another country, another hemisphere. Please go away, right?
Right.
They just want to live in peace, with the other vegetarian cats. Because what was it? Tiger says he really loves broccoli. Broccoli is his favorite.
Yep, he did.
So, and then after the cats are chased onto the boat, um, there's some of the stuff that got knocked around like during the whole skirmish is like a big old kerosene can, and it gets some of the little fire that's remaining, and of course it explodes, right? And so they have to flee and everything. But it also means the cats can't get back on that pier.
Right,
So
right.
they have to stay on the boat. And during the fire, he's separated from his family because his family is there because they're always just this close together.
Mm-hmm.
So they get separated, and the French pigeon and his fellow French pigeonette, right? They're able to bring the family back together and also include Tiger with them.
Mm-hmm.
They get Tiger by each paw and his tail, I think, and like are flying him over to where they are. So they get reunited. I think like right by the Statue of Liberty or something. Oh no, they fly by the Statue of Liberty on the back of the pigeons, and the Statue of Liberty winks at them.
Yeah.
And they're all together, ready to try and make their fortunes in America.
Yeah. Which, like you said, what are they going to be doing with money? So.
I don't know. I figure they probably just want to be able to like have enough cheese, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Maybe cheese is their currency. Is the
For
money?
the mice, probably that would make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what these cats were gonna do with these coins, but
Right.
like,
Right. Yeah. I don't get that part either. But it was cute. Um, Especially like when the cockroach was trying to count the money
yeah,
under duress.
yeah. And
So.
then he's like, oh, when they're on the boat, he's like, I'm gonna have to learn how to count in Chinese, and so he's like, gotta adapt, you know.
Right. 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 We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I grew up with this movie,
Hmm.
singing all of the songs, right? Especially There Are No Cats in America. Like that one a
So,
lot.
what was it about this movie when you were a kid that drew you to it?
I just liked the story, and then I like that Fievel, even though like all these bad things are happening, he never gets he gets sad a little bit, but never too sad. Like
Hmm.
he never really stopped looking for his family, even when he's in despair. He's still able to make friends and connections, and he doesn't give up to look for his family.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I thought that was a cool part. And then it has you thinking about like when a lot of immigrants did come over, if like stuff like this was how realistic it was to the story.
Hmm.
Even though it was told on a mice level and
Yeah.
was told to children, like I'm sure a lot of this did happen where people were getting separated.
Hmm. It did.
Hmm.
And Fievel is actually like the name is Steven Spielberg's grandfather's name,
Oh, okay.
named after him and everything. But yeah, because like throughout history, Jewish people in Europe have been a target of lots of persecution, not just like World War II and the Holocaust and stuff, but before that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even like going back to the bubonic plague, like when it was really big, because places that were heavily Jewish, they had different customs as far as hygiene was concerned. So a lot of them ended up not getting the bubonic plague. And so they would be the focus of violence because of that. People come up
Oh,
with all kinds of conspiracy theories about what Jews were doing to not get the plague.
right, right. Mm, okay. Um, so what would you say is like the biggest impact with this movie on you?
I would say I really like the song "Somewhere Out There."
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the whole idea, like, if I mean, because like as a kid, like, I would go, you might go to somebody's house for the summer or whatever. You might go to camp for the summer, whatever. You might be without your family for some reason. And as someone who really didn't have a sibling too much growing up, like, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm all alone, like,
Mm-hmm.
but you have a song kind of like that. It's like, no, we're under the same sky. We're still out there thinking about each other. You're not alone. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So what made you choose this movie?
Definitely my affiliation with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I do recall liking American Tail 5 Goes West better than this movie, but you have to start somewhere. So
Yeah, yeah. I do remember Five Goes West like being a big deal when it came out. Of course, I don't remember this movie when it came out, but I remember seeing a lot of promotion for Philo Goes West.
Mhm.
So that always stuck out in my head.
Yeah, I do think Five Goes West is better. I think this one has some pacing issues,
Hmm.
especially for the audience it's supposed to be for.
Yeah.
Um, but I really like the animation where when it's supposed to be like scary. It's pretty scary.
Hmm.
Like like being 4 or whatever, 4 or 5 years old to look at something like that and be like, oh yeah, that's a little frightening. Like that big old rat house thing they build.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
and then like when he gets lost in the sewer and there are all those like there's different kinds of like creepy crawlies after him. Like some are beetles and some are cockroaches and whatever. And the
Yeah.
way they animate them is just like eyes and legs and like just a kind of like a moving mass. And like your face right
Hmm. Yeah. Because
now. But yeah, it's
yeah,
effective, you know.
yeah, yeah. It definitely was effective.
I like
Yeah.
how they like you were saying how they use like some real history to like color the world that this is in.
Hmm.
Like the whole thing with Jewish people in Europe having to leave because of persecution, and
Hmm.
people from all over the world coming to America, and also like how some of the things they would find here once they got to America. Like you could watch oh what is it? Gangsters of New York and like see similar things
Yeah.
happening in that movie too. So
Yeah. 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 Do you think that this movie could be remade in present day?
absolutely, no doubt. I think it could. I think it would definitely be different. I think it would need to
Hmm.
be different just for modern audiences.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it has enough like I don't know that it necessarily needs to be remade, but you could make a movie that's similar, super similar. You know,
Um. Yeah. It probably doesn't necessarily need to be remade,
Mhm.
but like a live action would be
Live
kind of.
action.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of interesting. Or I did see that they do this in a musical form,
Yeah, I can see that as a
like a
musical
stage.
form for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean the original version was a musical. The original idea he had for this was musical. So
Okay.
hmm
Yeah.
I can see that because
Yeah.
while it's not a musical movie, it just
Hmm.
has some musical
Has a couple
scenes.
songs,
Yeah,
right?
it has some songs.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did see that they did make it a musical, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I can definitely see that. Um, but yeah, I mean, probably. I would probably do it with humans, not necessarily mice. If it was live
Mm.
action,
Oh, you want to make them just human?
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Because I'm thinking live action mice. So
no, not live
okay,
action mice. I would, yeah, that would be gross. I would never. But yeah, to make
it
to make
doesn't
the
have to be.
story,
They would be studio mice. They have mice actors.
mm, no,
They
that
know how
would
to do
creep
tricks
me
and
out.
everything. I hear
I
they make really
know.
great pets.
I don't want to do firsthand, but yeah, no, I would make them actual people if it was
Mhm.
live action.
Yeah, I
But
think.
then I can see a lot of
Yeah,
people having pushback.
yeah. I think it might be better to keep them mice. I think you would need to change the story more if they were human. There's
Hmm.
a lot more things you have to think about when they're human than when they're mice.
Yeah, and then you have to be more serious because you're dealing with a serious matter.
Yeah, and this
So
is already serious enough to me for a kids film.
yeah,
Like
sure.
a lot of the because I was looking at like some of the criticism about
Hmm.
when it came out, and a lot of it was like this movie is so sad. Like this movie is too sad for kids. Um,
I didn't think it was sad, per se, because it does have a happy ending, and we
it
only
does
got
have a happy ending. Yeah,
yeah, we only saw like one casualty for real, for real.
yeah. Well, Gene and was it Gene Siskel and Ebert gave it two thumbs down because they felt it was too downbeat of a children's movie.
Mm.
So, yeah,
Well,
they
life
thought it
can
was
be.
way too depressing for young audiences. I was like, "Mm,
Well, everything isn't seen through rose-colored glasses. Sometimes you got to give kids a reality check.
I don't, and for me it was just like it wasn't, but it wasn't that dark. I never felt that it was like that sad or depressing as a kid. Like it's got
Hmm.
its sad moments, but like you said, it's a happy ending.
Right,
The
right,
mouse community comes together to get rid of the cat bullies, and Fivel reunites with his family.
right, right, and they
So
don't kill a cat in the process.
yeah, and like they have a few cute songs throughout it and everything. The songs are hopeful.
Yeah.
Despite what's going on. So I think those are good for kids. Um,
Hmm.
they also criticize the fact that they feel like they chickened out on telling the audience that the family is Jewish. Um, which I don't know. I mean, the very first scene, the father is giving out gifts for Hanukkah, and like he gives his daughter a new babushka, and he gives his son his hat that they've had in the family, passed down, through generations, and he
So
says
with
Happy
this,
Hanukkah, but they don't have like the candles or anything, or but I always knew they were Jewish.
okay, so with this initial scene, how can they have chickened out? Because who besides Jewish people um celebrate Hanukkah?
I'm not sure. I think they just wanted like more clarification on it.
They wanted it
Like
in your face. They wanted like a happy Hanukkah sign to be lit up in the background. Like
I don't know what
did
they
they want
wanted,
them to
but I
wear
was
the
like they could.
star? Like
They did not make a list, unfortunately, but like they could have the candles at least, because like if you miss that scene or you miss the dialogue, you would at least see those candles and be like, oh, I know what that means. Maybe something like that.
mm,
Um, but I don't know. For me, growing up, I don't know when I first knew, but I never thought they were anything other than Jewish. So,
mhm.
um, but yeah. But
Yeah.
maybe for the time, like there weren't like a lot of animated things featuring folks who were supposed to be Jewish.
Mhm.
It's much. I don't know. But I feel like it'd be much more common now, right?
Yeah.
To but like because Disney in particular has a lot of issues with making their villains look like a stereotypical Jewish kind of figure, all the way up until like Tangled, honestly.
Mm,
Um, so maybe they just want just a little more focus on that.
yeah. I mean, I mean I get it because people expect for movies to just like spell it out for you,
Hmm.
and that's probably where they were coming from.
Especially movies for kids. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah. Because if you were having a scene of Christmas, you wouldn't expect people to have Christmas without a Christmas tree.
right, right, but you don't necessarily have to be Christians to celebrate
Celebrate
Christmas.
Christmas. No.
I just don't know nobody else that celebrates Hanukkah besides Jewish people.
Yeah, me neither. But it is, again, is one line, you
Hmm.
know, and there's no
Yeah,
candles. So it is kind of blink and you miss it.
yeah. I mean, because I blinked and missed it.
Yeah. Because I remember watching that scene as a kid and not understanding what he was saying. Like, like, oh, okay, I don't know what that means. Like,
Right, right. And I mean, when you look at the bigger picture of the story, then yes, you would need to know that they're Jewish.
mhm.
But as a kid watching it, knowing if they're Jewish or not doesn't matter.
I think it would matter if you're Jewish, like,
But as a kid,
even as a kid. Yeah.
like if you're 5 years old, I don't think you would necessarily grasp the plight of the Jewish person, even
No,
if
you might not grasp the plight, but I think having it like kind of more clear and present that they are Jewish
yeah.
would be good. It can't hurt.
No, it can't hurt, but I don't think you would um enjoy it any less.
No, I don't think you would enjoy it any less. I think you could possibly enjoy it more, which when you have that opportunity, take it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see that. I can see that. But for them to make a big deal about it, I don't think it was that big of a deal.
Well, I don't
But
know.
I'm not
But
Jewish, so yeah.
right, right. But I can see where they're coming from when it's kind of like they're mice, right? There's
Yeah,
not a whole lot of other visual clues to the fact that they're Jewish, which
right.
is important to their immigrant story. So
Yeah,
I can see where they're coming from with that.
yeah, yeah. I get it. All right. So we have our rating system. We have one movie reel trash AF, two it exists, three entertaining, four great, and five a true classic. So Maria, which one will you choose?
I would give this a 3, maybe a 3.5. It's entertaining. Like, I still watched the whole thing today. I wasn't like on my phone or anything when I was watching
Hmm.
it, which was surprising to me. Um, but yeah, I remember the music. I still really liked it. I think the animation looks really good. Like, I like the style they've chosen. Is distinct, right? You're not
Hmm.
going to confuse this for any other film. I like the voice actors a lot that they chose. I felt they worked really well. Um, I like the movie. I think it's still entertaining. I think it still has value. So, what did you give it, Lindsay?
I would give it a three as well. Um, it's definitely entertaining. It does keep you focused on the story, and I mean you can assume that we're gonna have a happy ending, but to see it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then it did have me googling a couple of things that I was curious about as well. So
What'd you Google?
I googled the whole Statue of Liberty part.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm like I knew it came over in the 1800s, I just didn't know when, and so that put things into perspective for me. And I didn't know, like we were saying before we got on live, I didn't know that there were issues that were making Jewish people come over here
Mm-hmm.
before the Holocaust. So um, that was something that I learned from the movie. So yeah,
Yeah,
but but yeah, the whole thing was entertaining. I will say that.
yeah. But again, for me, the second movie I think is better.
Hmm.
Five Goes West. And there are two other movies and a television series, but I have not seen any of those, so I
Mm,
can't say.
okay.
But it's wild. It spawned like all of that,
Hmm.
from this movie in 1986. That because it's not even like people talk about American Tail, like
Yeah.
like other older animated films. So,
Yeah.
but it found its audience, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, it was a huge hit. I will say that because the
Hmm.
budget was $9 million and box office was 84.
Yeah, that's wild.
So yeah, yeah,
And it
it's
won an
extremely
Academy
wild.
Award for Best Original Song for Somewhere Out There.
Oh, it did.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Golden Globe Award, Grammy, hmm and a few others
Yeah.
for Somewhere Out There. So yeah, that was a big hit.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. This was a huge. Oh, hold on. Yeah. I pulled up the accolades. Uh. Yeah. It won. It won. Oh wow. It won Song of the Year at the Grammys and Best Song Written specifically for a motion picture or for television.
Hmm.
Wow. And then the Academy's Best Original Song, it was nominated.
It was
And
nominated.
ASCAP Film and Television Awards, most performed songs from a motion picture, and most performed song from a film. They won
Mm-hmm.
both of those. And then it was nominated at the Golden Globes for Best Original Song Motion Picture. So yeah, it got a lot. It got a lot for that song. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember the song being very, very popular.
yeah,
Like probably more than the movie.
yeah, yeah. That probably fueled the movie even more. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And this was back in the time when they would have like adult stars sing the main title
Mhm.
from the track.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. So that was American Tail.
Yeah.
All
19.
right.
So what do you got for me, Lindsay?
Oh, excuse me. Um, hmm. Let me hold on, let me check. Make sure it's still on there because stuff be moving around. Let's see. Do 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 do.
Oh,
Oh, excuse
oh,
me.
all right.
Yeah, I came back with a cold.
Not COVID.
No, not cold, just a cold.
No spicy cough, just a cold.
Mm, mm, mm. Lord. Yeah, I had such a time because I was like running to get excuse me. I was running to get to flights and missing flights and all types
Oh
of
my
stuff.
gosh.
I was in hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. So
Mm.
yeah, it was a mess. Yeah, and it's not on there no more. Okay, so all right, so something else. Let me check this one. Hold on 1 second. Okay, yeah. Sunset Park.
Sunset Park.
Sunset Park. Yeah, it's another basketball movie, but it has it has Rhea Perlman in it, and Fredro Starr, and Terrence Howard.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
A sports comedy drama film
Hmm. Yeah, and it's on. It'll be on Tubi August 1st.
on
So.
TV. Okay,
Hmm.
great.
Yep. So our next one will be Sunset Park.
Sounds good.
All right. So Maria, where can we find you?
You can find me online anywhere and everywhere as Valar More Dollars. That is VALAR MOR dollars. I'm also on another podcast called Nerdgasm Noir, where we talk nerdy, geeky things with five other black ladies. So come by and kick out with us. Where can they find you, Lindsay?
You can find me everywhere at L_Renell. And also on my other podcast, The Ish We Talk, where me and my cousin, we talk about hot topics.
What did you talk about this week?
We talked about the whole trans women and
Oh, Lord.
cis women debate about periods and led
So
to other
silly
things.
to me. Okay.
Yep, led to other things that led to other things that led to other things. And fun fact is that, T.S. Madison got involved in the whole situation.
Yeah, I've been
I was
following
on
that.
vacation with
I've
her
been
when
following that. Yeah, I was wondering. Like,
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I was over in Europe with T.S. Madison when it all popped off. So yeah. I wasn't in the room with her when she made
right.
the tweet, but but we were on vacation together. So I just so happened to be in my phone, and I was like, wait a minute, she didn't hit the blogs. This is 46 minutes ago when they posted this. What is going on? So yeah.
That's wild to me. Listen, anybody who can have a period and wants to have a period should and could have them.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't. Yeah, at first
please
when I
take
first
mine.
heard it, right, I was just like, okay, I don't. It's not nothing that you gatekeep. It's just what it is. But then I heard more clarity on what
Mm,
she was saying. She was saying that like cis women can't gatekeep it because she's also talking about trans men and non-binary
mhm,
people. So
mhm.
when you add them, okay, but it's not about gatekeeping. It is what it is.
Yeah, because
So
how can you and why? If you could, why would you? Like,
why? Yeah, I don't. Hey, if I can spread out my period to the masses, hey,
yeah.
believe me, I
Listen,
would.
I'll put my uterus on Uber right now. Like, what do you like?
like, like that,
Please
it's not about gatekeeping, but
leave people
yeah,
alone to live the lives they want to live. That's not hurting nobody. Good grief.
yeah, yeah. So we talked about that, and then also it led into another debate about the whole term cis woman.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't get
you know,
that either. Like, it's just an adjective.
but the thing is that if I don't want to be called something, don't call me it.
It's just an adjective though. Like, it's
I
not
get,
something to call somebody. It's something that just term for agreement.
right, and that very well may be true, but if another if another group of people are asking you to call them by their pronoun and you have no problem with respecting what they want to be called, respect what the other person wants to be called as well. I
Yeah,
never
for
tripped about
pronouns,
it.
but the
Yeah,
whole thing
I
with
never
like
tripped about
that
it
would be
before.
like it's like somebody saying, "Don't call me Homo sapien,"
Well, people don't go around calling people Homo sapiens though.
but they do.
I've never heard nobody be like, "You Homo sapien." Like I've never heard
People,
nobody.
I mean, it's not like super a common thing culture, but people do.
Yeah, I've never heard nobody do that not one time.
Typically, you find it more in writing, but people do.
Mhm. Yeah, but if I'm telling you, "Hey, don't call me that," I mean, it's just like how people, use this is an extreme example, but how people use the word bitch. I don't use the word bitch unless I'm like legit calling you a bitch.
But the thing
But
about
if
that
it's
is
just be like, girl,
that's also used as a slur. Cis is not.
right? That's what I'm saying. That's the reason why I prefaced it with this is an
Yeah.
extreme example. But nonetheless, if I ask you, don't call me that. Don't be like, bitch, please. I'm gonna call you whatever I want to call you. No, because you don't want me to call you whatever I want to call you. So don't so just respect me like I respect you. That's all it is. It's just all about respect at the end of the day.
Nah, I can't because like every single time I hear somebody say that, it's usually somebody who's transphobic. It's never like, okay, well, what would you like to call? Well, for you to call you instead, and it's usually something that's very gender essentialist.
So what do you mean? How's that homophobic or transphobic? If
No,
I'm
what I said
asking
was
you,
not homophobic.
not
Okay,
homophobic,
I was like,
I
wait,
meant
wait, what?
transphobic. How is that transphobic if I'm asking you not to call me a cis
I didn't say that
woman?
it necessarily was, but every time I hear somebody say that, it's usually followed or preceding something that is transphobic. I've never heard anybody say that and not be transphobic.
Okay. Okay. And in your experiences, that could very well be true. But I've seen people who have said who are like an ally to the
Hmm.
community and is still saying, I don't want to be called a cis woman.
But see, the thing for me is, if you want to be an ally, you wouldn't mind being called cis because it's just
Why not?
a designation of agreement that you agree with what you were signed as at birth.
Right, right. And I get that.
So
I
if you're
totally
going to
get
be an
that. I've
ally
never
to
had a problem
trans
with it.
people, to people who are trans men and trans women, and they use trans men and trans women, why would you be like, oh, don't call me sis? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but with me personally, I
Unless we're
haven't.
just gonna
I've never had
say,
a problem with it.
like, don't call anybody trans anything and don't call anybody cis anything. Everybody's just men or women and non-binary. Unless we're gonna say that.
Yeah, and T.S. Madison made that point in her video, whatever. And like I said, like me personally, I've never had that issue with the whole cis thing,
Mhm.
but some people have. Some people do have that issue, and whatever reason behind their issue is their reason behind their issue. My whole thing is that I feel like it's hypocritical that you are asking us to respect what you want to be called, but you can't respect what another person is to be called because not it's not just trans people that are having the issue with calling a cis woman a cis woman. It's other people, it's other groups that were having that issue, and it had to take somebody to really break it down A to Z for them to be like, okay, I get it.
I mean, if you're gonna get mad at that, you have to get mad at Latin and you have to get mad at, sciences. Because it's not something that was just made up recently to call
Right.
people.
It's
You know what I'm
not something
saying?
that was made
Like,
up recently, but it seemed like it's starting to be used in the last several years.
yeah,
Like I
it's only starting to be used in the last several years because uh people who are trans women and trans men, their voices have been elevated and finally heard. People are finally listening to them. And so when you just think about, okay, what does being a trans woman, trans man, what are those definitions? Okay, what does it mean to not be trans? It means to be cis. That's why it's coming up recently, but it's just suspect to me when people get offended by that. It's suspect.
I don't think it's suspect. I just think it's just a matter of respect. Like
No,
respect me for not wanting that to be what you label me as. Just like I
but you
respect you
are.
for not putting the
But you
label.
are though. You know.
And somebody
It's like
still
calling
have that
somebody, it's like
argument.
if somebody was like, don't call me black, but you're black.
Well, black is a color, and then you can go down that rabbit hole and be like, well, I'm not black, I am X, Y, and Z. You
But
know what
you're
I mean?
also black. But you're still black though.
Yeah.
It's the
But
same, it works the same way.
yeah, but then you go down the whole rabbit hole, and then my whole thing is just respect. Like it's not gonna change the way that people get paid. Like your paycheck is still gonna be the same. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna change the way you put your clothes on or to flip a light switch in your house. Like nothing will change if you respect what somebody wants to be called.
Yeah. The only thing about that, like, I mean, just like in any situation, there are certain things people say that let you know that they may not be safe. And when somebody says that, and if they're not following up with like, let's get rid of all of that and let's just call people whatever, uh, then you're suspect to me. I don't know how safe you are if you have a problem with being called cis. Like, why is that a problem? You are though. You even said that you are though. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just taking exactly what you said and then saying, "Oh yeah, this is the word for that." What's the problem? A lot of
Yeah.
times I see people are like, call me biological this or natural that. And I'm like, no, no, no. Because now you're getting into some territory here where you're
Yeah.
about to, discount other people's humanity.
Right,
So
right, right.
yeah, it's a dog whistle for me. Like, nah.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like you can go down those rabbit holes and it can get real,
Yeah.
real touchy.
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know. It's just for me. It's just a matter of respect. Like if somebody don't want to be called something, don't call them that. Period. If you want to be called something, call them that. You know.
Yeah.
But
That'll work until I find you disrespecting somebody's humanity based on who they are.
yeah, yeah,
And then I'm not going to respect you.
yeah, yeah. But I totally get what you're saying, but I'm still gonna call like if like a trans person were to be disrespectful, I'm still gonna call them by their trans name.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just
But
flip
yeah.
and be like if a trans woman were to just be mad disrespectful to me, and their woman name is Joan, I'm not gonna start calling them John because
I
they're
would
being
hope not.
disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
There are
that's
lots
not
of other
gonna give
things
me.
I could say about Joan. That,
I can call them a lot of things and still call
yeah.
them Joan. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna give me. That's not gonna give me a free pass to be disrespectful in that manner. You know, like I wouldn't do that. But
But
yeah, I
if you're out here dead naming Joan, then I'm gonna get disrespectful too.
you said if you're out here doing what,
Dead naming Joan.
dead naming.
Yes.
Oh, that's
So
what you
that's
call it, dead name.
mhm.
Oh, okay. I never heard that term. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I
But
guess
yeah.
that makes sense. Dead name. Yeah, yeah, because that's what her motherfucking Tasha K was doing. That was terrible.
Oh. Well,
That was
Tasha
terrible.
Gay got a lot of other things to worry about right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah. She definitely do.
she needs to
She
concentrate, keep her eyes on her own paper. That's how she got in trouble in the first place.
Yeah, but it just seemed like she just going for broke now. It's like
Quite. Cardi's gonna get her money. So
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that was the discussion amongst other things was
yeah.
that whole situation. So
All
yeah.
right. Well, if you like hot topics, you know where to go.
Yep. 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 So we will see you guys next week when we discuss Sunset Park.
Bye.
All right. See you. Bye.